often get a question about my writing process. So today I'm making this video to introduce you to the environment I write my book, Breathless. And I have to admit that's the place where I spent most of my time in the last 3 years. And I don't write alone. I brought here subject of inspiration or pieces of curiosity I collect through my travels, or something would make me solve the puzzles of evolution, or just maybe very special pieces into my soul. It used to be a musical room, and we still have some subject of that previous goal or aim of this room. But as everything evolved in this life, so that's we made it into my office. I'm gonna start with the most ugliest painting in this room. This has a very special meaning for me. It's a copy of the work of Chaim Sutin, and I got it maybe 10 years ago as a message on a WhatsApp from somebody who used to know me very well when I lived in Russia. And it, this painting or picture of that painting and 3 pictures of Modigliani, and I look at that painting and I understand, yeah, probably the person who sent the painting to me means what this woman look like me. And maybe I saw some similarity, but I was deeply upset. I wrote back, I said, oh, this is not me, I'm totally different person, I'm confident, I'm not scared, that's not me. But later on, I've been thinking and thinking and thinking about this gesture, and I realized that probably was me when I moved from Russia. Yes, it was a long time ago, but I still remember that fear of uncertainty. I didn't know who I am, and I didn't know what I'm gonna do in the United States, and I really didn't know like how to find me. I had no plan. Yes, I had education, but that was it. I didn't have any connections. I didn't have a language to express myself. Um, I had dreams, that's true. But looking at this painting more and more, I realized the beauty of it. And now when I write, and I always look at that, and I see the beginning of my journey. And, I start loving it. I find it very expressive. Yes, it expressed the fear, it's expressed uncertainty, and maybe it's me deep inside. And I didn't hide it in a book. I really portrait myself into one of the heroes, uh, who still constantly in the process of exploration of herself and looking for identity and looking to make a difference in this world. Just like this woman in green. Behind me, behind my desk, I have this fish. We have that expression in Russian, what I need you just like this fish need this umbrella. It's just full of absurdity, but just like a life. It has a lot of absurd moments, and through my writing, I learned to enjoy them. And it has a very kind face and a business bag. So that's full of absurd, but I'm very proud because it's made by my relatives, and I don't have a lot of relatives in the United States. By my relatives, I'm so proud of. They have a museum of modern Renaissance in Boston, and they actually represent creativity for me, or they are my role models of creativity. Also, I put a lot in my book. I put a lot of stories about black iguana. This is the iguana. For me, it's not black, but that iguana, what I talk about in the book and actually in the introduction, what represent the adaptation. The iguana, what I talk in my book, was drifted to Galapagos Islands, and from regular iguana, it became a black iguana with a very long fingers and learn to eat seaweed and live 40 minutes underwater and hold her breath. So that's example of adaptability, or actually positive influence of evolution. And I'm trying to evoke my readers to learn those best practices from iguana and adapt to the modern time using the best features. And I have 2 more paintings in this room, and they actually have a deep story for me. One of the heroes in my book, or somebody who I talk a lot, who inspire me, to their journey and has a very tragic history. He is the person behind these paintings. He actually brought the artist into my practice, and we did that exchange. We exchanged the dental work to those paintings. But now, I don't think about the artist. I think about the friend who I featured in the book, who I really want to commemorate with this book. And I'm thinking about his influence on my life, and even after he's not with us, and I really miss him terribly, I can look at these paintings and think about him. I'm very proud about my trips to Africa. I really love this continent. I learned so much, and those stories and life, even lifestyle, how people live and traditions, they fascinating to me. I never get bored there. And of course, I want to capture the beauty of this continent in a pieces of art I brought back. And I brought this giraffe from Namibia, where I follow a different herds of animals and learn how they live, and I find them so elegant and endlessly beautiful. And this one I brought from Ethiopia. This is a woman. It's not a man. This is a woman from Mercy tribe. And this is the beautiful artwork they do, but they also put the artwork on a human face. The earrings from Pumba Warhog. And when I purchased this and I tried to bring it through customs, they did not allow it because this is, part of the animal. So they damaged my structure and cut it. So I came to United States and I found them online, and I reassembled these beautiful earrings to this woman. But the most interesting part of that Mersey tribe, and I talk about that in my reels on Instagram, what they, the most beautiful woman is the woman who has the biggest clay circle underneath the lower lip. So they had a cut on the age 14, and they start putting the circles of clay underneath the lip until it's become, huge. For my culture, or for my understanding of beauty, it's very ugly. But and self-mutilation is ugly to me. But I accept the fact what I don't understand the beauty standards of Mersey tribe, and a woman who has the biggest clay circle in that tribe, she is the most valuable bride. And actually, to marry her, and they can marry in that tribe 8 wives or more, to marry this woman, you need to have 60 cow and 1 Kalashnikov. And I find that also, that's, I'm feel very fortunate what as a female I can choose my destiny, and in some tribes it's actually totally different. So looking at the sculpture make me appreciate what I have. Even as a little girl, I always like to read, but I had an idea what I don't know how to write. I used to ask my father to help me in school with compositions and all of that, because I was so challenged. I didn't know how to put the words together. But again, you can never define by the challenges. And at certain point, I realized what I love to tell story. And now I tell story in a written form. I know a lot of writers who are the role models to me, beautiful Russian literature like Tolstoy, Dostoevsky. They use pen and paper to write the story. And a lot of writers use a typewriter. I don't use any of them. I always use the computer in the digital form, even though I write, and you can see a lot of paper here, but all my book happen on a computer, and I'm envisioning it mostly in the audio form. But the main idea of the book, I wanted to touch your heart. I want you to see my story through the eyes of the dentist. And actually, I hope to make that stigma to the dentist less after people reading my book. And also, I want you to see it through the eyes of immigrant, because yes, obviously, I look at this world totally different from a lot of my American friends, and I want you to be in my head to see how I envision it. But also, I'm a very curious person, and I can't stop being fascinated with happen in the world, and sometimes it's ugly things happen, and sometimes it hurts. And I put all of that pain and all of this uncertainty on a paper, and I try to find a way, I try to find a certain structure in order what helped me to enjoy the journey, to enjoy every day, to enjoy people who I meet, and I hope I was able to convey it to you. So that's my goal for the book. What I create something what's gonna touch your heart and it's gonna make your life easier and happier.